Thank you, Father. Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to this training session. As you say, natural family planning, but it's precisely on Billings, ovulation of natural family planning. Perhaps some of you did this program last year online. We did a simple version. Why I'm saying a simple version, because we didn't follow the syllabus strictly. We just did a simple version for those who wanted to know about the Billings method and wanted to learn for themselves, or maybe learn a bit to be able to share with their family and friends. The structure we have for this training is different. For this one, we are going to follow strictly the Billings ovulation curriculum. As you know, in Pro-Family Life Association of Nigeria, which was founded by Sister Leonie McSweeney, the Lord rest her, we started with the Love and Life, and now Pro-Family Life Association of Nigeria is officially affiliated by World Organization of Billings Ovulation Method. So we are going to be doing a lot of retraining to upgrade for those of us who knew only about Love and Life. We are talking about the same thing, but when we are talking of the full advanced Billings method, is with a lot of scientific citation, which we are going to witness as we go along. There are 5 of us from the team, from Pro-Family Life Association of Nigeria, CUM-WUM. So there are 5 of us because each of you will be having a mentor. The class will be subdivided into groups because there will be a lot of homework. You are not going to have examination per se, but as we move along with this topic, with this session, there are 9 modules. As we go along, each session will come with a lot of practical chatting, which will enable us to understand what we are doing. And not only that, we'll be using what you call it, Excel, Microsoft Excel. So for those of us maybe who are not very familiar with Excel, by the time we finish today and the next session, I will really encourage each of us to invest a bit on Microsoft Excel. It's not too difficult, but it's something that you will be needing a bit. And we will encourage each person, please don't skip the class. We are going to keep attendance, and as we say, we have no exam, but you must be able to chat every chat that will be given. When we do the chat, we give the chat in class and your teacher marks it. If you don't get it, then with the guidance of your teacher, you would be able to do the correction and send back. That way we will really know that you understand, because if you don't rechat it, and then we go along with subsequent topic, you may not understand it. So we'll finish the 9 modules. We hope that 9 modules will be completed in the 1 month. If we don't complete it, we will negotiate with Father on how we are going to complete it. And when we finish with the 9 modules, then we step into what you call mock clinicals. Mock clinicals will give you the background, the scenario of how you are going to deal with your client in real life. It will be an example of how you will be dealing with your client in real life. Then following the mock clinicals, you will now be expected to get about 3 or 4 clients and follow through the clinical session with your client. And it's after that that you'll get the certification. So that's just to give you the overall background of what we are going to do. The attendant will be very important because learning Billings ovulation method of natural family planning is far from just being a lecture to say, I will copy the notes. What happened is that it's like one block on top of the other. I normally tell people, I say, if you are constructing a building, you miss a block, would that building be strong? And most time people will say, yes, it can be strong. So I hope that we will make an effort. It's at night. I hope we will make an effort to attend the class, because when you miss a session, it will actually leave a gap in your knowledge. Not that, and we will have reading materials which will be sent to you, so that as we finish the lectures, you go through the reading materials and then you answer your questions. And hopefully by tomorrow, we are going to allocate each participant to a teacher among the 5 of us, which Father has already introduced, so that so many of us, because we give personal attention to participants to be sure that you are able to follow the program. I don't know whether anybody has any question at this stage before we will now go into the course overview. That's the course content of this training. If there is any question, we can take that before we go into the course content.
Yes, I have a question. My name is Felix Odudu.
Okay.
My question is, for each sitting or for each class, what will be the duration? How many hours?
I was chatting with Father. This is a course that some of us followed for 1.5 years. We will need not less than 2 hours to go through the main structure. And then after the main structure, that you participants then will be able to build on what has been presented in the class. You go through the reading materials to be able to do your assignment. So we are hoping it will be like 2 hours. As we go along, again, we will be interacting with you for evaluation, so that if we need to have more time, you can let us know.
Okay. Please, my follow-up question is, how often will this class be? Is it weekly or?
It's going to be every 2 weeks. We have made it like that. As you will see, by the time you are going to get the homework, you will need a little bit of time in between to be able to do the reading. There can be quite a bit of reading in it, and then do your assignment. So that 2 weeks interval is required because of that. So it's every 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, okay. Let me. Okay. Mr. Felix, hold on. Yes. Thanks for that question, because this first section is supposed to be where we have to address that. The program is going to be twice in a week, meaning that we are meeting twice in a week. Supposed to be Fridays and Saturdays in a week. Then 2 weeks interval, as Sister said, meaning that if we meet this week, next week will be free, That week will not be a week to do a lot of assignments, okay? Then a week following it, we meet again. The other week we meet. So the program is going to run from March to April. And the idea is to cover by 1 month, we mean that the session will be all the weeks we are going to meet will be 4 weeks, making months. So if you calculate twice in a week times 4, that will give you about 8. And sister is telling us tonight that if within these 8 sections that we have, we are unable to cover up the models, then it can be extended. Otherwise, this is how it's going to be. Now, having said that, tomorrow, we are supposed to meet tomorrow, being the second day. I said today, I'm going to tell us that we will not meet tomorrow because tomorrow I'm going to host a program tomorrow night. Now, I'm putting up to you, will Sunday night be perfect? If Sunday night will be perfect, rather than meeting tomorrow, the second day will be on Sunday. If Sunday night will not be perfect, it will be on Monday. But I believe that Sunday night will be perfect. So after today, we meet again on Sunday. And let me hear your opinion on this before we continue with the next question. You can unmute yourself and speak. People are raising hands. Okay, Mr. Felix, then Mrs. Mary Koloba.
Okay, but we used to have a program with you on Sunday.
No, the time is not the same. The time is not the same. The program we have on Sunday is 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So the program for this workshop is 8:30 p.m. It's 8:30 p.m. So it's fine. Not going to, it has nothing to do with that one. Mrs. Mary.
Father, good evening. Sister, good evening. My own is that Sunday, okay, well, since it's not going to be an all-time thing, we can actually make our time. But my own, I'm looking at the timing. We are starting for 8:30 and sister is saying 2 hours. I am of the opinion that it's quite late because some of us have very busy day. Then by the time we come back, I just got into the house around 8. So if we're meeting by that 8:30, we won't have time to do anything. That's my own opinion. I'm just feeling that we should shift the time back a bit if it's possible. But for me, that 8:30 looks late.
Hold on with the time. We'll come to the time later. Let us conclude on this now. So I'm giving a proposal Sunday night or Monday nights for the second day, just as I explained in the beginning, that in a week, we have 2 sections in a week, Fridays, Saturdays. For the Saturday of tomorrow, we're not hold. So will Sunday or Monday be okay? If, let me just hear from 1 or 2 persons, the program is for you. If it's okay, you say yes. If not, you take it to Monday. Let's hear your opinion. If not, you just conclude, say Sunday is perfect.
But I think Sunday night is okay. So
all right. All right. So we leave it that way. Mrs. Ayuval, unmute yourself, Mrs. Morin. Unmute yourself. You are muted, Mrs. Ayuval. All right. So we leave it that way. Sunday. So after today's session, the next session will be on Sunday. Now let's go back to the time that our sister Mary Okoloba just raised now.
But I want to say something, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Father. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I don't know. This zone. My name is Joseph Augustine Shagari. I don't know this zone that we are into, like the area I am, the network is very, very poor. It was just keeping come up and go off like that. So I was just trying to find network. And the area I am, I cannot stay outside late. I'm supposed to be inside. And inside my house, there is poor network. So right now I'm outside. I don't know, in terms of this zone, like what we discuss here now, is there, can it be translated so that we that don't get it from the beginning, we can read it and follow up? Because all that was discussed today, I don't know, plus minus, I just captured up to 20, not up to 20% that I understand from what was discussed. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Joseph, no worries at all. This program is being recorded. So at the end of each section, I will send the recording to the WhatsApp group. You can just go and watch and learn whatever you have missed. And the program is also streamed live on YouTube. In case you have problem with, if you have problem with Zoom, you can follow live via YouTube. So no worries at all. It is being recorded. You can still go back and watch it.
Okay.
We got you covered.
Thank you very much.
Good. Now, the time of 18, someone suggested that 8:30, according to her, is too late. That she would prefer.
Truly is late, Father.
Because
I'm talking to you now, I'm outside, and I'm not supposed to be outside. I'm supposed to be inside my house because the area I am is not that good.
Okay, so
I supported
let's
the
share your. So, Mr. Joseph, according to you, what time works for you?
Let's say 6:30. I think is better.
And because I believe that many of us here are
we're in the church. And also we're in the church.
Yes, 8:30 will even be the best time because Fridays people go for Stations of the Cross, come back. Some people go to work, come back. That's why I even think that 8:30 is the perfect time for everyone. But let's hear from others. Mrs. Mary, you have spoken before. You can still speak again. Unmute yourself.
No, Father, for me, it's a 2-hour program. Why not we start by 8? So that if we all agree on that 8 o'clock till 10, yes, okay. I know I leave my house by 6. So you can imagine if, and that's more like a routine, if I, because of my work, and I know a lot of persons, for me, I'll prefer 8 because I know that, yes, because of Friday's program of Stations of the Cross and some other things, yes, people will be finishing mass around 7, yes, get home around that 7:30. If we all agree, we can make preparations. So I will start by 8 on the dot and finish by 10. For me, that 8:30 is kind of late.
Okay. Okay.
I support 8.
You support 8.
For me, 8:30 would have the ideal time because some of us, by the time we move from work to church, from church to work, come back also, we have to have time to and then take our dinner there before we come for this. So I'm just shut down from church now. I have not even eaten, so I'm not eating. So I'm lucky.
First, Mrs. HB, you are the last person before I say what I want to say now.
Please, Father, I support 8:30 because that is when it will be okay for us. We have returned to by that time. So 8:30 is better than 8 o'clock. I'm not sure if I go to church after Stations of the Cross, we have mass, and by the time I get home, I may not be able to make the 8 o'clock. So I support 8:30.
Okay, someone is saying, hold on, someone is saying, what of those outside Nigeria? Thank you for saying that. That is from, okay, Sister Mary Frances. She's joining from South Africa. Many of us here are not in Nigeria. Let us know that I'm not even in Nigeria. I'm joining from the UK. She's joining from South Africa. And Dr. Patrick is also not in Nigeria. Many of us are in different parts of the world. So anytime we are talking about now, let us not use Nigerian mindsets. I know majority are in Nigeria. Some are not in Nigeria. We have a couple joining from Cameroon, okay? So when we talk about time now, we are talking about West African time. Where I am, there is a difference of 1 hour. So I always factor that so that I don't make mistake of time. So when we say 8:30 p.m. friends, the 8:30 we are talking about is West African time. We can say 8:30 Nigerian time. I know in South Africa, there is a difference of 2 hours or 1 hour, Sister Mary Frances, if I'm not mistaken. So not just 8:30, but 8:30 West African time, 8:30 West African time, or 8:30 Nigerian time, for the sake of those who are not in Nigeria, so that we don't confuse the time. Thank you. So no more discussion on this. For now, we leave it at 8:30 so that we don't go and debate. So we leave it at 8:30. If along the line you can't finish the program to the end, we have the video for you. We have the recording for you. You can later watch the recording and meet up. So let us conclude it. Our time remains 8:30 p.m. West African time, Nigerian time. That's the same. Thank you and God bless you all. Our sister Cornelia, you can now begin the session. Or does anyone have question on this? Because the conclusion has already been made, so that we can proceed.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
thank
please,
you.
I
Thank
want
you
to
for
ask
this is Dr. Patrick. Okay. Sorry, Father. This is Dr. Patrick. Just to add to it, I think Sister forgot to mention that attendance is very, very important. So even if they want to watch or they want to try to see the recordings after the program, but attendance is also very, very important. Please, because we are going to take note of attendance. Remember, Sister said we will not be giving exams, but there are assessments as we continue, and we are taking note of attendance. So why they try to they should, let us just try to work with the time, please. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So once you log in, you just put in your name so that we know that you are here and the attendance will be taken. Thank you, Dr. Patrick. Someone was speaking who wanted to speak before. Go ahead and speak.
I am asking a question that I just joined. I'm asking, how many times in a week do we do this program?
Twice a week, Fridays and Saturdays.
Friday and Saturday.
8:30 p.m. West African time. But tomorrow, Saturday, shall not meet. We shall meet on Sunday, 8:30 p.m. West African time. 8:30 p.m. Nigerian time.
So 2 hours, 8:30 to 10:30.
Yes.
Okay, I think that is okay. Well, maybe some people will be excused because me, I normally have another program by 10:30. So maybe if I reach 10, I will. If I reach 10:30, I will. Anyway, it's okay. Let's see what happens. 8:30 to 10:30. No problem, Father. It's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Sister Cornelia, you can take over now. God bless you.
We are now going to go through the course content of the 9 modules. So if you can, I hope you can see the screen. Can people see the screen? So session 1, we'll have anatomy and physiology, scientific background validation of the method, benefit of the Billings ovulation method 6.
Sorry, we are not seeing what we are seeing is only your documents, I mean your files. We are not seeing what you have opened.
Okay, sorry. I think maybe I opened too many files. Let me stop sharing and go again.
No, but that's it now. You're only reading out the headings, so it's okay.
Okay. Okay, it's not a slide projection. Okay. Okay. Can you see the screen for that?
Yes.
Okay. So if you look at the screen, you see the session 1. Session 1 will consist of anatomy, physiology, scientific background and validation, benefits of the Billings method, 6 requirements. There are other things as well. So we look at session 2, charting the Billings ovulation method, normal cycles, correlation between the signs and the woman's chart, recognition of natural indicators of ovulation. As we complete that, to be practicalized by doing 5 charts. Sorry, this is jumping. How did it jump to the end? Oh God, sorry. What's happening with my screen? I'm sorry. Oh, I don't know what's happening with the screen. I must have touched something. Okay.
Stop sharing. Okay, it's there now.
It's there. Okay. So as we finish with that, we are going to actually apply those topics to about 5 charts, 1A, 1B, 1C, 2, and 3. And then we go into the key to understanding pre-ovulatory phase, basic infertile pattern, BIP of discharge, and also another BIP of discharge, 2 types. Session 4 will consist of cycle variation, delayed ovulation, different types of bleeding, combined BIP in chart 6 and chart 7, delayed ovulation with hormones, implantation bleeding, abnormal bleeding, breakthrough bleeding, and stress, how stress can affect the chart. Then session, sorry, excuse me. Then we go down to session 5, cycle variation, lactation and premenopause, breastfeeding, menopause, ovulation, no cervical response. Session 6, stress and achieving pregnancy. We see chart 16 will be on stress. Chart 17, short luteal phase. Chart 18, achieving pregnancy, low sperm count. Chart 19, 1 day of mucus. Session 7 will consist of post-chemical contraceptive. Chart 20 will do post-chemical contraceptive, ovarian dysfunction. Chart 21, post-chemical contraceptive, poor cervical response. Then session 8, in session 8, we do reproductive health, high pre-ovulatory progesterone. Chart 23, reproductive health, carcinoma of the cervix. Then chart 9, which will be the last module. In chart 9 is a kind of a summary of all that we have been doing, correlation between pituitary and ovarian hormones and the woman's chart, rapidly changing pattern of discharge, pregnancy investigation. So the charts we have, they will be chart 24, pituitary and ovarian hormonal correlation, pre-ovulatory. Chart 24, rapidly changing pattern of discharge. Chart 26, pregnancy investigation. So in brief, those are the topics. So throughout this course, we have, please don't be frightened. We have about 26 charts to go through. So you now understand why we have to have so many teachers, so that one teacher will not mark more than 25 or 6 people, so that you will be able to get a personal attention. Because when your teacher marks your paper, and sometimes there may be need for her or him to call you to say, look, these are the areas you need to improve and send the chat back to you, and then you make efforts to correct it. And from there, so, but hopefully we are not going to wait for everybody. We hope that you will do your assignment on time, submit it on time, because if it is marked on time equally, your teacher will be able to give you a feedback on time. And then that will enable you to continue, because if you don't do the homework, your teacher will not know how much you have grasped the session. And then maybe just coming then to enter the next session, when perhaps, for instance, if you have been given an assignment for session 1, and you have not yet completed the assignment, and you're attending session 2, I don't know how helpful that will be. So we are really making a special appeal that you will make effort to read. I know we are busy, and hopefully at least if we go through the PowerPoints in the class and there are references to go through, that you will, it's not a course that is going to run for the whole year, it's for a period of time. And hopefully that if you do that and work with the teacher that will be allocated to you, that you'll be able to forge through the course. It's just 1 month, and maybe at most we may have to add another 1 or 2 weeks. So that is the course overview. Without much delay, now we are going to go, having seen the course overview, we are now going to look at the development of NFP. And when we talk of NFP, we are really talking about the Billings method. If we are talking of the father of the natural family planning, it is John Billings. Because when you look at what do you call it, Creighton's model, you look at a symptotemal method, and you look at the couple rosary bead method, which are other kind of natural family planning. They are all based on the cervical mucus signs, which John Billings and Evelyn Billings are the foundation. Of course, we are along the way, we are going to see other contributors who have done a lot of scientific research to bring the Billings ovulation to the stage where we are today. From the team, from the training team, please, any comment, contribution before we continue?
No, sister.
Okay.
You can continue.
All right, okay. So we are going to look at the development of Billings ovulation method. Okay. Okay, we are now going to look at this. What is the reason that we are looking at this? We want to see what background does Billings method have. We first have the Japanese Ojino and the Australian nurse who demonstrated different kind of scientific research that when ovulation occurs in the human, female menstruation follows within 14 days. And first started also with the rhythm method. The rhythm method, which is more or less the calendar method that we are talking about. We have this, which started with Ojino and Nurse. And then as time went on, it was seen that, the rhythm method wasn't very reliable. And from that rhythm method, like if you are calculating, which a lot of people, unfortunately today, are still talking about rhythm method, which is calculating what you call the safe period. We see that as we go along the course that ovulation cannot be just fixed to 14 days. There are other circumstances, especially we are talking of people with very short cycle, which can range from 19 to 24 days. So if you are talking of just fixed 14 days, you are also talking of breastfeeding chart, you are also talking of stress chart. So we can see that the rhythm method wasn't very reliable. So the Billings team continue researching.
Sister, your slide is not showing. Your slide is not showing.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's not. It won't show well till I use. So I'm just merely capturing the sequence of the development from the rhythm method. From the rhythm method, we'll be giving you the full detail of the handout to read. From the rhythm method, the scientific research went into the basal body temperature. Again, as we talk of body temperature, we know that especially in the tropical units, tropical areas, that the temperature can be subjected to many other factors. And that can be a falsehood when you are relying on temperature, but we are showing the development over a period of time. From the rhythm method, the temperature method was developed. And from that temperature method is when John Billings and co. then developed the Billings method. So we are not going through it line by line, but it's just to show you there's different stages that went on before the Billings method. So we are talking of the original rhythm method, then developed into the temperature method, and from temperature method, John Billings and co. with a lot of research, then developed the Billings ovulation method. We will be giving you this to read in detail. We are not going through that. So that's the background of the development of the Billings method. We are now going to look at the Billings ovulation method itself. What does it consist of? Just a second. Please, just a second. I want to pick up the slides. Okay, can you see Billings ovulation method, natural way to achieve pregnancy. Please, can you see the screen?
Yes. Yes.
The Billings ovulation method, a natural way to achieve pregnancy, postpone pregnancy, and monitor reproductive health. Billings ovulation method is easy to learn, simple to use, no drugs or devices, no side effects, is reliable, morally accepted by all culture. So we talk of the combined fertility. In combined fertility, we see the sperm production, which begins at puberty. The male fertility, the product of the sperm continues throughout life. And we see the female fertility, which begins again at puberty. In cycle, the potential fertile days for approximately 5 to 8 days, which ends at menopause. So we see the contrast with the male fertility, which continues throughout life. So looking at the female reproductive organ, as we see in the screen, we have the ovaries here where the cursor is going. You have the fallopian tube. These are the fallopian tube on both sides. Okay? Then we have the uterine cavity, the center of the uterus. We have the endometrium, which is a very thin wall. Like, I like using the example of avocado pear. In avocado pear, when you open the seed, you have the brownish part, which is a very, very thin part we peel off before we eat the avocado. And that's the equivalent of the endometrium in the uterus. We look at the cervix here. And then we look at the vagina, again, where the cursor is going through. We look at the pockets of Shaw. And then we look at the vulva. The vulva, which is the parts of the female reproductive system that the woman feels the sensation of what is happening in her body. Okay, here the ovary is highlighted. I'm going back to show the ovary here that we are highlighting. The ovaries whose function is a cyclic maturation of the ova. That is where the eggs are released. When it is the appropriate time, the egg from the woman's body is released, produces hormones, estrogen, and progesterone. Again, the fallopian tube is highlighted the second time. The first time we're just looking at it. We see the fallopian tubes, through which sperm cells are assisted in their passage from the uterus to the ovum. So we can see that the sperm comes up here and then travels to the fallopian tube. And if the egg is released, and that is where the pregnancy will actually take place. Again, we have the uterus highlighted again, the organ of the female in which the embryo implants and develops. This is where the sperm meets with the egg and then travels down to the uterus. That's where it will implant itself on the walls of the uterus. Endometrium, the lining of the uterus, which we have already explained, which is shaded at menstruation. That thin line I was talking about, like in the avocado pear, that is what is shaded during menstruation. We look at the cervix. The neck of the uterus, again, is highlighted. The cervix is highlighted here. You see where the uterus is? You see the end part of the uterus, that's where the cervix, the uterus, which bears the mucus producing crisps. We look at the vulva. It is the external part of the vagina, the external part of the female genital organ. It is the sensing organ. In a minute, we will be talking about how does the woman feel what is happening in her body. So it's actually at the vulva that the woman will be able to say, oh yes, I'm feeling this or I'm feeling that. The vagina, the birth canal, the passage through which the baby is delivered, okay? The lining of the vagina has no crisps. The pockets of Shaw, we will see in a minute too, the important function of the pockets of Shaw, which is at the end part of the vagina. After ovulation, under hormonal control, mucus is dried up. It has a very important function because when we are going to talk of the peak, for one to really know the peak, which is the last day when we are going to talk about the slippery sensation, for that to be demarcated from other slippery sensation, is actually this part of the body. It has a kind of a drying agent that will dry up the mucus coming from the body, and that is when the woman will be able to say, oh yes, I have already experienced my peak. So keeping record, observations made at the vulva as the woman goes about her normal daily activities. That's the keeping of the record. We are talking of how does the woman know what is happening in her body. It is through that part of the body. I'm going to go back again. It is through this part of the body, the external part of the vagina called vulva. This is the area that she will feel the sensation. This is the area she can say, oh, and what I'm feeling today is dry. Or what I'm feeling today is I'm feeling maybe a bit sticky. Or what I'm feeling today, I'm feeling the slippery sensation. So that is the part of the cell. And we keep telling people, for you to really know the signs that you are experiencing in the body, not to look at internal examination, but only what is outside the vagina. Most fatal characteristic of day recorded each day. 1 or 2 words you describe. It's important to describe what the woman is feeling. And let the woman describe what she is feeling in her own word. And from there, the teacher should be able to say, yes, oh, this is what that feeling you are describing is all about. Okay, so at this stage, we are going to, even though we have not finished these slides, we are now going to go back and look at in detail how to observe the body sign. Please, I need to connect the power cord. Just a second, okay? Okay, so we are now going to continue on how to chart the body signs.
You're outside. I was even calling you. I thought I was even saying that you don't sleep now, no. When you enter your room, check down up the up top.
Okay. Billings ovulation, how to chart the body sign. Can we see the different body signs on the screen?
No, sister.
Okay, you can see. Eh?
Not sure.
Okay, sorry. I'm going back again. It's not showing. Just a second. I'm sorry, second, please. I have so many chats open. Okay, you are still not able to see the screen?
No, you can see the screen. Not where we are talking about.
That's where we are.
Okay. Symbols. Sorry, I'm just still trying to. Symbol and stamp. That's where I am. Can you see the screen?
Oh, no, sister.
Okay.
No, sister.
Okay, sorry. I have to find my way. I don't know why it's not showing.
It's showing, but not symbol.
Eh?
Showing, but it's not the page you're talking about.
Okay. Let me close some of the files. Huh? Okay. Okay. I'll stop sharing. Go and open the file first. Okay, yeah, still, there's something that I've done for share.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so
Can you see it
it's
now?
showing now. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's showing now.
Okay, sorry about that. Huh? Okay, so we want to learn very important part of the training is the different body symbols. As I said at the beginning, some of us have done the love and life symbols. Just to know that we are not using stamp, which is used mostly in Europe and America. Most African countries, we keep to the symbols. So we are going to talk of the symbols of representing the different body signs. But please, for those of us who have done love and life, please don't mix up the body symbols. So here we can see when we are talking of the bleeding, the first one, they just dots. It's bleeding, shows bleeding. It's going to be just one color. That's what we need to take note of. It's one color. We are not going to use the black and the red as we normally do in love and life. But the international standard body signs for the Billings method is what we are using. So we have here the black dot represents the bleeding during menstruation. Then you have spotting. At the moment, we have a bit of challenges in the love and life because I have women saying to me, say, sister, I was only experiencing a drop. Like if you have 5 days of menses, by the 4th and the 5th day, it's not flowing like the 2nd and the 3rd day. You are having drop. That's what you call the spotting here. You see the spotting represented by 3 dots. Then the dry sign is just one stroke. As you can see, dry infertile sign. Then you have the 0, possibly fertile. In Billings method, once there is any form of discharge, I'm not talking of the bleeding sign, the bleeding discharge, which is blood, but we are talking of any other kind of discharge. When you have that, it's called possibly fertile and it's with 0 sign. Then you have a 2 equal sign, discharge infertile, BIP, basic infertile pattern of unchanging discharge before peak. You see that in a normal cycle, you will have the menses. We are going to talk about, you have the menses, then you have some spots, that is the bleeding not heavy. Then you have the dry sign. Then you have the possibly fertile days. And then you have in some cases, you will not have dry sign. You will have the discharge that might be infertile. Then you have this peak, which is represented by 0 and the X. And then you have 1, 2, 3. So these are the body signs that we are going to be using. These are the body, see there, the bleeding, the body symbol for bleeding, which we have already looked at. You have the spotting, which is not heavy at the end of the, maybe the 3rd or the 4th day, or if the woman menses flows for 3 days, maybe the first 2 days will be heavy. Thereafter, the 3rd day might be what you call spotting. This is what the spotting is. That means the bleeding is not heavy. Then you have the dry sign. And then let us chat together as a woman would do day by day, using 1 or 2 words to record a sensation. So that's what we are going to do now. You see here we have just plain charts, nothing. So the slide is going to take us through. You have the symbol, you have the description. So I like to refer to the Love and Life because some of us are used to the Love and Life, and we need to bring that in when we are teaching that so that you can see the difference and will not mix up. So you put the symbol here. Here you, in 1 or 2 words, the woman will describe what she's seeing, whereas the symbol will be what she is feeling. Day 1, weight bleeding. So you see, there the symbol there is bleeding sign. And to capture the description, what is the woman feeling? So to be able to describe the body sign of a woman, you have the symbol, which is what the woman is feeling at the vulva. And then you have another 1 or 2 words to describe what goes with that. That is the weight sign. Day 2, what is going on in the woman? The woman is feeling weight. On looking at herself, she will see that she's bleeding. Day 2. Day 3, what is happening? Again, she's still bleeding and she is feeling weight. The sensation and the description is very important. Day 4, you see by the 4th day, the woman is, the menses is not flowing much. She's just spotting. So you can see that she's spotting. That's why when you hear dry spotting, you have to use the word dry spotting, because oftentimes they can be spotting that is not dry. We will be looking at that later. Day 5, same thing. She's spotting on day 4, she's spotting on day 5. By day 6, she's dry. The menses, the flow is different. Day 7 is dry. The symbol of dryness is 1 stroke. Day 8 is dry, as you can see. Day 9 is dry. Day 10, she begins to have a different type of sensation. She's no longer feeling dry at the vulva. Remember, we were talking of the vulva. That is the area the woman is feeling what is happening in her body. She's feeling sticky, and upon looking at what she's seeing, it will be cloudy. So she records that. Remember, in the Billings method, once there is any discharge from the body, initially you will record it as 0. So you see, she's feeling wet. She's feeling there's cloudy. Say it's wet and cloudy. Day 12, she's feeling wet, cloudy, and there is what is called strings. What's happening on day 13? Slippery, clear, and strings. So that line 2, description of the mucus, is very important. Now you see she's still feeling slippery and clear, symbolizes with the 0. Woman has noticed that she had a swollen vulva. Swollen vulva. Following that, she's feeling dry again. Hello? On day 17, she's feeling sticky and it's not very clear again. That's the use of the word opaque. The same thing here. Then day 19 is dry. Day 20 is dry. Day 21 is sticky and is cloudy. Day 22 is sticky and cloudy. Day 23 is moist and cloudy. So any other thing coming from the body, once there is any discharge, we are using 0 as the symbol. Day 24 is moist and cloudy. Day 25 is dry and shown by the dry sign here. That is the dry sign. Day 26 is dry. Day 27 is dry. Day 28 is dry. Day 29 is wet. Day 30 is wet. Day 31, the menses begin, bleeding begins. Okay? Is there any question so far on the body symbols? Okay, can we continue? Okay. I'm going to go fast through this session because we are not using the stamp. So this is our chart. What is this chart saying? That the woman had 3 days of bleeding, and on the 4th and the 5th day, she had spotting when the bleeding was not heavy. The 6th to the 9th was dry. The 10th to the 15th, we can see what different kinds of discharge, ranging from sticky cloudy, wet cloudy and string, slippery clear with swollen vulva, and then you see dry again. So the different symbols. You can see the days that are the same day after day, like this dry. Can you see the clouds? Days that are changing, getting wetter. If you look at day 10 to day 15, it's changing. You see sticky cloudy, wet cloudy and string, slippery clear, and you see slippery clear with swollen vulva. It is changing over a period of time. Yes, can we hear from Mrs. Dominica? Please, you want to ask a question?
Yes, sister, thank you very much. Please, sister, all this sticky cloudy, wet cloudy, can we have an image or picture?
A picture?
Yes, sister.
Okay. In part 2, we are going to cover the discharge of the different mucus. So I think at this stage, we are just looking at what is important, and we are looking at the symbols.
Okay.
And on session 2, we are going to have the different types of mucus coming out of the different areas of the vagina. So hopefully that will make it clearer. But right now, the concentration is on the different symbols. We will do that later, okay?
Okay, sister.
All right, okay. Okay, again with the symbols, we are not using stamps, so I'm skipping those. We are going to use so when we are looking at the places where it was cloudy, the slipperiness or the different discharge starting what we call like if you want to use something that is familiar to you, you can use the word pap. For a woman that is having what we call a normal cycle. A normal cycle is a woman that experiences her menses from the range of 25 to 35 days, within that range. That woman first will experience her bleeding or her menstruation. Following that, she will have a few days of dryness. Following that, she will start having some sort of discharge. Again, use a word that is familiar, because when you say the word cloudy, of course we can see the cloud. But right now before you, something that you are very familiar with, what can you use to describe it? It's like when you say, I'm making a akamo or pap for the baby. For we adults, you have it very thick. When you are making the pap for the baby, you make it light. That's what you said. But the camo can be made very thick. It's cloudy because you can't see the bottom of the plate. So what we are going to look at now, the changes as when the discharges starts coming, it will change into different things. So what are the three criteria? You are talking of identification of peak. Peak is the last day of the slipperiness in a woman. Three requirements are a changing pattern. If we want to go back, changing pattern of a variable length. I want us to go back to the charts we've had before. If we look at this chart, for instance, we see the dryness stopped on day 9. Day 10, sticky, cloudy. It changed on day 11 to wet, cloudy. It changed on day 12 to wet, cloudy string. You can see that practically every day from day 10 to day 15, you can say slipperiness, you know, but it's changing all the time. This is what we're talking of, the changes. To be able, this last day, this day here is the last day of slipperiness, shown with a swollen vulva. So this last day is what we are talking about peak, which is the central message in the Billings method. So the changes that occur, day 10, day 11 is different from day 10. Day 12 is different from day 11. Day 13, you can see practically from day 10 to day 15 that there are changes developing all the time. That's what is called the changing pattern. So we go back to the slides where we were. 3 criteria: a changing developing pattern of variable length, ending in slipperiness with a distinct change to no longer lubricative. I'm going to go back to the same chart to demonstrate what we are talking about. So we see here it's changing, and then it changed to no longer slippery. It changes from day 10, develops into slipperiness, develops into slipperiness that is clear, then developing to slipperiness with a clear swollen vulva. In a minute, we want, when you are talking of peak, it's not just peak. On this day, you are having peak as well as a swollen vulva, which is a sign of ovulation in a woman. We'll be talking more about ovulation. So what this slide is talking about, that after day 15, it changes to no longer slippery. By this time, slipperiness has stopped. And it is this slipperiness that has stopped on day 16 that alerts the woman that something very important happened on day 15. And what happened on day 15 is what we call peak in the Billings method. On this day, this last day, which the woman will not know on that day 15. She will only know on day 16 when she has stayed for the whole day and there is no sleepiness. She can look back and say, yes, yesterday was my last day of sleepiness. Okay, we go back. Okay, so we see here, you can see where it is highlighted. Slippery, clear, swollen vulva. On day 16, the woman records a definite change to no longer slippery. She can now go back to the chart, the last day of slipperiness, and mark peak by putting X. Okay, Madam Benis, hello, you want to ask a question?
Yes, ma'am, I want to ask.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Please, I don't know from this chart. So which part can we say is a BIP, that is basic infertile pattern? From this chart now.
We will be going to the basic infertile. It shows me that you have a background knowledge of what we are talking, but for the sake of those who may be doing this for the first time, if we can just keep to this now, the BIP, of course, is this part. This is the BIP part, but we'll talk more on that. Okay, BIP part is here. After menses, for this looks like what you call the normal chart. Okay.
Yes,
but we'll come back to it because we will need to pay a little bit more extra attention for the BIP for those who have not been exposed to the Billings language. But otherwise, day 6 to day 9 is the BIP. But we'll come back in more details to that. Is that okay?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that is the BIP here, which usually follows straight after menses, but before
the dryness. It's just the dryness that is the BIP.
Yes, for this, but you know there can be other things. But as I said, let us keep more. We won't go more into more details at this point, so that those who are not used to that will not get confused. But later we will do more on the BIP. Is that okay?
Okay, yes, sir.
All right, okay. So we can see that this is the day, the last day of that woman's sleepiness. She experienced a sort of discharge on day 1, day 10, day 11, but from day 12, it was wet, cloudy, and like strings. And day 13, the same thing, day 14, slippery. That day 15 is the last day. And remember that you are charting the body sign in the evenings. You chart the most fatal sign, because in a day, just like the weather, a woman can experience up to 2 or 3 body signs in a day. What she's supposed to record on this chart will be the most fatal sign. If she has 2 signs, she has to ask herself, now, which one is more fatal? Which one is more fatal? The number 1 most fatal sign is the sleepiness. After the sleepiness is the discharge that is sticky. So those once you have any discharge in the body, of course, the most infertile sign in the body is dry. So we are talking of the woman recording the most fatal sign. So here, possibly in the morning, she may have experienced dryness, but what she's recording in this chart and with the description is the most fatal sign. Now, our attention is being drawn to day 15. Day 15 is the last day of slippery sensation, because on day 16, throughout the whole day, the woman did not experience any sleepiness. And that is what I later, oh, yesterday was the last day of my sleepiness. You look back in retrospect, peak is identified by looking back. On that day 15, she's feeling slippery. She does not know whether that will be the last day or not, till day 16, when she does not experience the slipperiness again, she goes back to put the X, which symbolizes that was the last day. And in the Billings method, that last day is regarded as the peak. It's the central message. The peak is very, very, very important. Whether a woman is achieving pregnancy, trying to achieve pregnancy, to avoid pregnancy. Yes, it is the central message. And you can see that part of the chart is highlighted. Okay. Okay, we are going to, for now, we will keep the peak rule. Okay, we will be coming back to that again. Is there any more question before we go ahead? Okay, so we are going to play, I'm going to stop this now. I want us to play a tape that will kind of summarize what we have studied so far. I hope we'll be able to hear it. Let me share.
Reproductive system is wonderfully complex, yet the signals it gives you can be quite simple, helping you identify the fertile and infertile times in your cycle.
To raise the sound.
Sensation that this discharge produces at the vaginal opening, called the vulva, also changes. This is because your cervix produces different types of mucus in response to changing hormone levels. Your cycle begins with menstrual bleeding, when the lining of your uterus, called the endometrium, is shed. Following menstruation, your cervix becomes blocked by a thick plug of mucus that prevents sperm from entering the uterus. This means that you are infertile. Many women feel dry at the vulva during this time. Other women notice a pattern of discharge that feels and looks the same day after day. The number of days that you experience this unchanging pattern will determine the length of your cycle. In an average cycle, this pattern of infertility lasts for a few days. If your cycle is short, you may not experience any days of this infertile pattern. In a longer cycle, you will have more. Early in your cycle, the pituitary gland in your brain begins to secrete a hormone called follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH. FSH stimulates the growth of a group of follicles in your ovaries. Each follicle contains an egg and a bundle of surrounding cells that secrete the hormone estrogen. Estrogen activates the cervix to produce the mucus essential for fertility. This is the start of the fertile phase. The fertile phase, shown here using a baby symbol, begins a few days before ovulation. One type of mucus produced by the cervix dissolves the plug, which means sperm can now enter the uterus. Another type of mucus filters out damaged sperm cells. Yet another type nourishes the sperm, so they can live for up to 5 days in your reproductive system. It forms channels which help the sperm travel through your reproductive. Your reproductive system is wonderfully complex, yet the signals it gives you can be quite simple, helping you identify the fertile and infertile times in your cycle. You may have noticed different types of discharge throughout your menstrual cycle. The sensation that this discharge produces at the vaginal opening, called the vulva, also changes. This is because your cervix produces different types of mucus in response to changing hormone levels. Your cycle begins with menstrual bleeding, when the lining of your uterus, called the endometrium, is shed. Following menstruation, your cervix becomes blocked by a thick plug of mucus that prevents sperm from entering the uterus. This means that you are infertile. Many women feel dry at the vulva during this time. Other women notice a pattern of discharge that feels and looks the same day after day. The number of days that you experience this unchanging pattern will determine the length of your cycle. In an average cycle, this pattern of infertility lasts for a few days. If your cycle is short, you may not experience any days of this infertile pattern. In a longer cycle, you will have more. Early in your cycle, the pituitary gland in your brain begins to secrete a hormone called follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH. FSH stimulates the growth of a group of follicles in your ovaries. Each follicle contains an egg and a bundle of surrounding cells that secrete the hormone estrogen. Estrogen activates the cervix to produce the mucus essential for fertility. This is the start of the fertile phase. The fertile phase, shown here using a baby symbol, begins a few days before ovulation. One type of mucus produced by the cervix dissolves the plug, which means sperm can now enter the uterus. Another type of mucus filters out damaged sperm cells. Yet another type nourishes the sperm, so they can live for up to 5 days in your reproductive system. It forms channels which help the sperm travel through your reproductive system to meet and fertilize the egg. You become aware of your developing fertility by the changes in the mucus that you feel and see at the vulva. You will notice that you feel increasingly wet and then slippery, and you may see mucus that becomes thinner and clearer. The last day of the slippery feeling is called the peak of fertility. It is very close to the time of ovulation. As one follicle nears maturity, the pituitary gland is stimulated to release a surge of another hormone called luteinizing hormone, or LH. LH triggers ovulation, the release of the egg from its follicle. The egg is swept up into the fallopian tube, ready to begin its journey towards the uterus. If fertilization doesn't occur, the egg will die within a day of ovulation. But if the egg meets any sperm along the way, fertilization can take place. After ovulation, the empty follicle is transformed into the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum produces a hormone called progesterone. Progesterone prepares the endometrium in case there's a fertilized egg ready to implant. It also causes the mucus to thicken and the plug to begin forming in the cervix again. The day following the peak, you'll no longer feel wet or slippery at the vulva. By the end of 3 days after the peak, your fertility for this cycle is over. About 2 weeks after ovulation, a new cycle begins. We can now see how essential cervical mucus is for fertility. Once you're familiar with your patterns, you'll be able to identify your fertile and infertile times. This knowledge can help you to achieve or avoid pregnancy. It can also help you to safeguard your reproductive health, as you'll be able to recognize changes which might need medical investigation. This is knowledge that every woman ought to have.
Okay. Do we have any message, any question from what has been presented so far? Hello? Hello?
Hi, sister.
Hello?
Hello, sister.
Yes.
No
Hi,
question.
Okay.
Hello, sister.
The training team, please, can you come in with some additional comments on what has been done so far?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, my name is John Chukuma. I want to commend Sister. Sister has done excellently well within the scope of the time we have. I can only make just one comment. So for the purposes of mastering personal observations and personal use of the system, it's very important that while we are learning this, we are learning it for our personal use, personal witnessing, which is very key, important for the propagation of the system. If you have not used it, or you do not have someone to use it to share personal experience, you may not be very motivated to go far with it. So we still have a lot to talk about, but here today I want to just say one thing. If you had followed what Sister had been saying all along, Sister has continually mentioned two most important critical words. Two most important critical words. She has always mentioned it. Because of the load of information that she's been releasing, you may have not been able to notice those two words. And I want to just emphasize those two words so that if that's all you can hold on to, then be less assured that you will go far in the program. Number one, you will hear her say the word feel. Feel. Feel is something you can't connect with your eyes. Feel is something that you can't see. And because we are sighted, we often tend to, overlook the fact of the basics for that observation. Feeling is something we use our senses. When you hear sticky, sticky is a feeling, you can't see it. When you hear sleepiness, is a feeling, you can see it. Dry is a feeling, you can see it. Damp is a feeling, you can see it. And so the critical thing, the critical message there or learning there is, how do I now observe, not see, observe feeling? And there comes that particular magic one. She talked about vulva. Now, you ask yourself, if, for example, your menstrual flow, when it begins, do you see the bleeding first, or you feel the wetness first? Which one comes first? Obviously, your answer is obvious. You feel the wetness before you see the bleeding. And so that particular point where you feel the wetness, hold on to it as your critical mass in this learning tonight. That particular point where you feel the wetness, because that is where all the observation of feeling takes place. Everything Sister has spoken about in terms of observing sensation, that is the place where the sensation is felt, that particular spot. And no woman, every woman knows that very well, the vulva. And how do you observe it? She said, sister said, while you are doing your normal daily activities, standing upright, walking around, doing your normal thing, no extra job, no extra load, nobody's asking you to do anything extra, live your normal life. But throughout the day, observe your vulva, how you feel the sensation there, so that at the end of the day, when the woman put down her undies, she can now see, which is the next critical mass word. You can now see. No hand touching, no dashing. All of those is no in this system. Once you look, you can describe in your own word. There, Chisa is talking about cloudy. When you say cloudy, when you say clear, when you say opaque, when you use the word, pale yellow, these are things your eyes connect. So those two observation techniques, you must hold on to it. That is all the magic to it. There's nothing else other than those two words. So you connect with your eyes at the end of the day to describe in a simple words what you've been able to see on your undies, or perhaps maybe when you wipe with the tissue back to front to back, and then you look at it, if it's cloudy, if it's clear, if it's moist, if it's moist, no, not moist, moist is feeling. If it's, clear, if it's thick, if it's, okay. Just the only words, just write it in a simple word that you can understand. That's all that is it. That's all. At the end of the day, last thing you do before you go to bed, just simply ask yourself, what is the most fertile, not most frequent, not most occurred, but most fertile of everything you fed throughout the whole day? You just simply put it under that column where you have your chart observation, sensation, and observation. That's all. So, but for now, it may not be so clear, but as you do the practice, you get used to this. And finally, it is this, when you master it, you can easily pass it on to another person. So that's all. Other things, someone was asking at BIP, all of those things will come by the time we start talking about different physics of cycle. Then whatever that goes with it will be taught. But for now, I think tonight we have had so much from sister, and I want to commend her for the work well done. Thank you. I'm okay for now. I'm done for now. Hello.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. Thank you. Thank you.
Sister, you are muted. Sister, you are muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay, just to add. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
A very lovely lecture you just, in fact, you. Thank you, Chukuma. In fact, you have been able to also add some comments that I would have loved to also to add. But just to say something, just like Mr. Chukuma said about our feelings, but most of all, we have to understand that feeling is very, very important. First, we take feeling is more important than seeing. So then I also want to say this. I hope we all would chat. It looks theoretical now, but by the time we start, trust me, you will like it. You will enjoy the practical part of it. But you need to be very, very serious about it. You need to be very serious about it. Just like Sister said from the beginning, we will not wait for anybody to meet up. We can only encourage you. But if you miss a particular class, sorry, it will be difficult for you to meet up, because even those that are in the class may still find it a little bit tough, but they still need to go back. If you are somebody that you understand when you self-study, then you may like it, but you still need to attend class, and especially the one-on-one classes, so that you can enjoy the practical aspect of it. So what I will also add to it again is that we need to practicalize what we want to teach, or what we'll be teaching. It will be nice if we that you are men, try to involve your wife. Let your wife start chatting, and the women, you can also start chatting, because it will really help you. So even while we give you the normal assessment chat, you should also have your own personal chat. So for instance, when you are in our groups, we are going to ask you your own personal chat. We will, of course, mark the assessment chat, but we will also ask you your own personal chat to be sure that you are also chatting and you understand what you are chatting. We are meant to make mistakes, actually, and when we make these mistakes, we have to correct you and to help you. So please take note of this. Feelings is very important, and ensure that you chat at our own convenient time. Let us get those chats. We can always print them, or we do them offline. We use the soft copy. That part, sister also mentioned that we make use of Excel sheets. I don't know if we have issues using Excel. Please, maybe you may want to communicate that with Father, then we will see what we can do on that part, so that we can quickly solve that part before we start chatting. So I think that will be all from my end. Thank you very much once again for the.
Okay, thank you. Madam Dominica, your hand is up. You have a question?
Yes, sister. I have a question for the last speaker. He's talking about start chatting and chatting. Is there everybody that will chat? What are those who that are past the reproductive age?
Okay,
hello?
Can I just quickly answer that? Yes, I heard you. Yes, even if you have passed through reproductive age, yes, keep on chatting. Mr. Chukuma mentioned something that we have not discussed reproductive phases yet. But whether you are at menopause stage, I know you are talking about menopause stage actually now. Yes, please continue chatting. Yes, we will know by the time we see your chat. We will know. Whatever you feel, put it down in your chat. Even if you are at menopause stage, please. It's very important that you chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Father has already discussed, our next class will be on Sunday. Hopefully by tomorrow, we will have our media person, Sister Priska. We are going to post on our platform the Billings ovulation method part 1, Billings ovulation method part 2. There is a textbook which we are going to have, soft copy Billings textbook. We are going to give you all the chapters, 12 chapters, because at each session, you'll have so many of them, references from different pages to read. So we are going to put that on the platform tomorrow, as well as the worksheet for session 1, which we have more or less touched on this evening. And then hopefully on Sunday, if we'll look through, see what we may have missed out on session 1 this night, We will touch on it and then enter into session 2 on Sunday. And then you'll be given assignment also for session 2. Then during the 2 weeks before we have the next class, hopefully that we will have divided out the different participants to different teachers so that you'll be able to follow up with your teacher. And if you have any challenges, you can follow up with your teachers to ask questions or whatever before we come back. Okay? So we would, so that we don't overload you with more information tonight, we'd like to stop there for tonight. I think people have had opportunity to ask questions. We'll be posting reading materials tomorrow.
Okay, sister, thank you so much. And everyone, about 33 people are here. About, I think 5 people left. It's okay. This program is being streamed live, so I'm going to share it on the group. In case you miss anything, you can just rewatch it. We shall meet again next Sunday. Sunday by 8:30 p.m. West African time. We will not take the closing prayer. I hope no one has something to say. Okay. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for our program this evening. I pray that you may bless all the participants, bless the facilitating team. May this program we started help us to build a good family, build happy marriage, build better society. Let it be something that will add values to our world today for the greater glory of your name. And we ask that our Blessed Mother may continue to intercede for us. As we retire, grant each and every one of us a peaceful and a quiet night rest. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. The Lord be with you.
And with you.
May Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, Father. Good night, sister. Thank you, sister.
Thank you very much, sister.
Bye.